the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, roll call, please.
Copeland.
Here.
Black. Honey. Grady. Holtz.
Here.
Bass.
Okay, we have 6 members here this evening, none absent. That being said, motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Bouse. Second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Very good. That takes us right into citizens' participation. Ms. Martin. Come on up. Let's go ahead and state your name for the record. And
Hi, I am Cassie Martin. Did I say your last name?
whatever makes you more comfortable. It's totally up to you.
Okay. I'm just coming because the whole electrical issue at the fair. We were in between the cow barn, I guess you'd say the hog barn, so those campers that were right there in the building and plugged directly into the building. And so when you guys had that whole electrical issue, our camper worked great Tuesday, and we've never had any issues with it, ever. And then the whole issue happened Wednesday with the fires, and our air conditioning has not worked since then. We took it to the HVAC company, and the compressor is completely fried on it. And they're saying it's because of the surge, and we've never had an issue with it. My issue with it is it's $1,800 that I don't feel like we should have to pay for when, you know, it was the city of Cuba's electric issue.
Did you say you were plugged into the building?
Yes.
So we're not supposed to be plugged into the building. We're supposed to be plugged into the provided outlets. That's one of the requirements for camping out there that the city has laid out.
Okay. We were plugged directly into where they told us to plug into.
Who is they?
Was it the people parking campers? People parking campers.
So that would be a representative of the Fair Board?
Yep, and they told us to contact you guys.
Okay. What I can show you, and actually if you'd like you can have this, but we do have in our ordinance that where we set up an agreement with the Fair Board for usage of the facilities for the camping. This was from February of 2007 actually, when this ordinance was passed, and there is a liability waiver that the city has where we are not liable for any campers or anything like that out there. We provide the park, we provide the electricity, which you guys purchase for the nightly fees, and we have a limit on the amount of campers that can be plugged into the grid. However, the Fair Board dictates how many is there and who's plugged into what. We just provide the building and the service. So we are actually free from any of those liabilities. And I don't know where your liability would fall in this case. Lance, I don't know if you have any opinion on that, and Jen, I don't know if you have any opinion on that. We as a city are protected because we set it up originally like, hey, yeah, you guys can use our park, you guys can use our electric that we provide. However, there are minimum thresholds on the amount of campers that we don't dictate the Fair Board does.
Correct.
Where those are supposed to be plugged in, we don't dictate that the Fair Board does. And it sounds like you were directed by the Fair Board to go here, plug in here.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Because
So,
we asked when we were at the fair.
Right.
Because we were, the outlet that we were plugged into, is completely melted. Our floor is melted.
Right, yeah. Probably way too many people on the circuit. 50 is supposed to be the limit. I can't speak for how many was plugged in out there, but 93, something like that maybe.
And I'm not trying to make this big ordeal, trying to, you know, I don't know. I just don't feel like we should be resolving for $1,800 for the damage. Obviously, we had insurance on our camper.
Right.
But it's the simple fact of, you know, this is our 4th year of participating in the fair, and that's a lot of money.
Sure. I fully understand.
You know, it's a 2018 camper, and we've not been able to use it since because obviously it's been too hot outside to use it.
Right.
And so I guess my issue lies is where do we go from here? Because I mean, I guess I can make an insurance claim, but then again, that's my rate that's going to go up. That's out of my pocket and there were actually 2 other campers that were next to us that didn't upset their camper. over.
Mhm.
I don't know what they're doing, I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
Cody, I do know that in that section, we could probably tell you who all was in there. I was not there for parking, I was at church that day, but I will tell you that some were unplugged on Wednesday by the fire department, as instructed by the city, and they plugged back in. And one of our, livestock chairmen had to actually go have a confrontation with them because they had plugged back in after the fire department had taped over those outlets. I'm one person, there's only a handful of us that do all of this, so I don't know what happened from there. I do know that when the fire department came on Wednesday, that outlet was melted and they were instructed not to plug back in.
And we were told that, we were told not to plug back in, and we did not plug back in. We went and got a generator from Logan Eaton, and that's what we ran on. I mean,
Your air conditioner ran on the generator?
no. It didn't, we went and got a generator and it didn't work. We actually ended up going home and sleeping because we had no air.
Lance, have you seen anything there in that liability release that's concerning you?
No,
And I do know what you're talking about.
I don't believe the city would have liability, but we can always send it to the insurance company and they can determine whether or not they have. But in the same way that I've always said before, I don't think the city is responsible for it. If we want to submit the claim for the insurance company to review and determine, that would be the only appropriate remedy. But I don't think you have any liability.
I would assume if it was submitted to insurance, they would review that exact clause.
I think they would look at that language and they would ultimately come to the same conclusion that I've already given.
Well, to do our due diligence, and again, I think that's probably what the result will likely be, but I can sure entertain a motion from the council to send it to our insurance along with the laws that we have in place and allow them to make that decision, if that helps you.
I mean, that would help, a little bit. I guess we need to address the Fair Board too, because as Jennifer said, I do remember that confrontation. I do remember, and they did keep it off. Actually, our plug-in was the one that was the worst out of it. We were on the top left-hand corner, and I remember them telling us we did not plug in. So I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? We live all the way in Cherryville, so it's a long drive. Going every day, and so we didn't plug back in. We went and got a generator. We tried to run off the generator. It did not work.
Right.
Actually, the people next to us tried to use the generator. They blew up a generator after the whole electrical thing. Not saying what theirs was from, I don't really know. I'm just an our camper. So, I don't know where we go from here. Do you guys want to do that? Do we need to address the Fair Board? What do we need to do?
I know what we'll probably get from our insurance, but we're happy to go through the steps for you. If council wants to make a motion that you can turn in any documentation you have to City Hall, or if you have it with you, you can turn it into us now.
I do. I have the estimate from
We can turn that along with our ordinance to our insurance company, and we can allow them to make a decision. And then from there, based upon whatever determination they make, that would definitely fully end our responsibility or our liability, and then it would be go wherever you wish from there to try to see if you can get any help.
Sorry.
Yes.
Does the Fair Board carry any liability insurance for issues like this?
I would imagine, but I'm not 100% sure.
I can't answer that. I don't know that part.
I would think they have to hold some sort of insurance.
And I would reiterate that the Fair Board has been told multiple times, 50 campers plugged into the circuit, and that's not happening every year. So this is a known issue, and the rules are being not followed.
I obviously don't want to make a big issue for the fair, to take the whole camping away from everybody, but I do think that the excessive plugging in of the campers, I feel like, that needs to be fixed,
Without a doubt, it has to be.
But I will say from just camping over there this year, the blame is not apparently on them. The blame has been put on the city.
Oh, believe me, I know.
I'm sure you are aware.
I got plenty of phone calls, and it's all the city of Cuba's fault, which again is frustrating because we provide the park, we provide the infrastructure, we provide the power, and we've also had our previous electric department supervisor say 50 campers is all the same to support. Now, what happens during the day and during the night and on the weekends, I can't speak for, but we did have some situations that we all know of this year. And I will say that even due to that, we are working very close with the Fair Board, Park Board, and the city currently. We're probably going to approve about $20,000 worth of transformers tonight because we are upgrading the camping area. So
Well,
that way we can avoid these issues in the future, because we do want to provide nice facilities for the Fair Board and for the 4-H and for you folks.
Yeah.
We want to have a good partnership, and we're definitely willing to hold up our end of that by spending considerable amount of money to make those necessary upgrades.
Okay, so can I ask, just from what I was told when the whole issue happened by a city employee, I don't even know who they were, I just know they were there with the whole issue going on, that apparently the barn had been vandalized between last year's fair and this year, and basically it was botched back together, and that could be the reason why the electric issue happened.
So we really don't know if that was any type of cause, but as we were going through basically a list of what this could be, that was something we considered. We looked at some fan motors that we think could have been the cause. We obviously, the grid I think was a major cause. We disconnected the Wi-Fi. That was something that was new this year, to see if that was the cause. We took into consideration that we've had to replace vandalized and stolen wires, and lots of different things was probably what we were trying to go through to find out why that roof was energized and why we were having the issues we were having. Eventually we grounded the roof on both ends, and that seemed to cure it, at least for the time being, but we know that's not a permanent fix. So again, that's why we're going to be spending money to make the necessary upgrades. I know that doesn't help you in your situation now. We do have, again, a liability release from the city to protect ourselves from situations like this. I would think the Fair Board might carry some insurance. I can't speak for them. But again, what we can do is turn in what you have and what we have to our insurance and allow them to make that determination. So at least that shows you that, hey, it's not just us telling you no. We also have a set of rules that we go by, and then you can go from there to figure out, hopefully, a resolution if possible.
Okay, and what did you say the maximum number of the electric stops was?
Supposed to be 50.
Supposed to be 50.
Yes.
Okay.
53, pardon me.
So how many electric spots were plugged into it? Do you know?
I don't.
Way more than 53.
Again, we hope that when we're being told 53, that when we say 53, that's what's being followed.
Because it took T's and pigtails and all kinds of other crap in there, but more than one server than 52 spots.
I'll make a motion to send that to the insurance company and see what they say.
Oh, very good. Motion by Bassett, Mike Holt, we'll send in what you have and what our current ordinance is. We'll send it to our insurance. We'll allow them to make a determination for the city of Cuba. We'll respond to you with that as soon as we get it, and then that'll help point you in the next direction.
Okay. I definitely appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no worries. Let's get a vote on that real quick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So yeah, you can leave that with us or bring it to City Hall tomorrow, or if you need to gather anything else, you're welcome to do that.
And I'll give this to you, and then, this is my copy of it. Yeah, you can have it. I just don't have, with me, I tried to print out further, or,
Grab that
information. Do you have an email that I can? You do.
So we'll let you know what we find out on our end as soon as we do.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
And again, I can't stress enough that this year was definitely a struggle for all of us. But the Fair Board, the Park Board, the city, we are all currently working very hard. The elected, our electric supervisor's here. He went out and met with the Fair Board, the Park Board. We are developing a plan to make this better. We just need cooperation from everybody that's involved to avoid what we ran into this year.
208-7977. And I mean, I know accidents happen, things, you can't control everything. It's just, our kids have missed out using their camper all summer now, being in the summer and stuff.
I fully understand. It's definitely unfortunate.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here this evening for citizens participation? Hearing none. Move on to the regular meeting minutes of August 2nd, 2002. Just need a motion to approve those. Motion by Mouse. Second by Grady. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Thank you. All right, and your bills to be paid as well as your additions to the bills to be paid. There should be some transfers in here from the treasurer's report, or if there were any necessary transfers, they will definitely be in there and have been completed in time so that we can pay our bills. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
Motion.
Motion by Mouse. Second by Grady. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Thank you, council. Electric department. we have some representatives here this evening, and I know there was a committee meeting last night, I believe, for the electric. So starting off with that, we have the recommendations from the electric committee.
Let's drink the coffee.
Alright.
Mr. Mayor, we did have a meeting with Andy. We'll let Andy go ahead and do the talking.
Okay.
Be best. Go right ahead, Andy.
Alright, I guess, all the meeting was about was, going over the water tower, moving the water line, or moving the power line from the water tower to get it away from it, so Glenn can get his sandblasting or whatever he can do to that water tower, so they can do it safely.
So
They say the lines are too close, but in my opinion, this is just, I guess my only opinion is, they did this job a while back, they knew the line's been there for.
And our decision was to do that in-house too, right?
Yes, do it in-house, but the line's been there for 40 years, and, I mean, I'm sure they've seen those lines there, and they knew how close the lines are. They should have to put some cost to the job.
And we do have one recommendation, it's,
In regard to that, so basically there was just a discussion about that upcoming job and the fact that you guys are gonna, I'm reading through some minutes, that you guys are gonna do the work in terms of just move the lines so that way they can come in and sandblast and paint.
Yes, I plan on in October, November, somewhere in there to start.
Okay, very good.
Good.
we did have a recommendation though. tonight.
Okay.
It's to hire Randy, transfer him into the electric. We got the county fair, that meeting county fair, and said we were good. So we're back here tonight to ask the board to give us another guy that we needed. And I believe your recommendation was Randy?
Yes, sir.
So this is where we left off at the last council meeting. Obviously, it was a 3-3 vote in which I vote in favor of no until we could learn a little bit more information. Sounds like that information has been discovered. You have met with our comptroller. She's given you the blessings as far as the salary that will be added to the electric department, which was really one of my main concerns. I do know that even with adding that salary, that won't have any major impact on our current budget. So the motion is by Kevin Copeland to go ahead and hire Randy, move Randy into that lineman position for.
But I would like to explain to the board how we came about this as well.
Okay.
You go ahead, you're better about the money that we budgeted.
The money that was budgeted aside for contracting was $750,000. And technically, we put that much in for a buffer. And one company had their offer in for $259,000 for just their labor and their trucks and all that. Material, add another $100,000 to it. So we're up to $359,000.
For what projects?
Double circuit. It's called the double circuit project. It's remove, you know, them big poles by Casey's and all that. Removing all them poles and putting one 4-aught wire for any seven kills and stuff with it. And so another $100,000 for materials, so you're up to $359,000. I told Tanya to give me $50,000, $75,000 for a buffer. That way, just in case they hit rock, sometimes contractors, they hit rock and they charge an up cost for that. And just in case they might need something special, we have money to cover it. So that's why we have a buffer. And so it's not the whole $750,000, there's a big gap there.
So you're really around probably 450.
I told her to give me 5.
Okay. Still a lot less than 750. And that will be a job that will be being contracted out next year. On the fiscal year 2023 or like next year as in after the first of the year?
Fiscal year 2. So July, when we do budget.
When you budget for next year.
I'm for sure what you're asking, sorry.
Yes.
So it was budgeted for this year.
It was budgeted for this year, but you're going to move it to next. More or less. And probably at a lesser cost.
Yes, lesser cost.
Gotcha. Okay, so recommendation on the floor to go ahead and take it back to a vote to move Randy over into the electric lineman.
Sorry. The reason why we put 750 also in there was because we didn't know what other contractors were, I didn't get all their bids back yet, and I only got one contractor that gave me their bid back, and the next closest bid was $850,000, just for their labor. So that's how big of a gap that was. That's the reason why we had so much in reserve.
And you don't think this bid is gonna come back and they're gonna say, oh, that was a mistake?
No.
Okay,
Is it gonna go strictly to electric, or is it gonna flow back and forth to the house line when it comes in?
well, he's gonna have to, I think part of the agreement, Randy, you're here, right, there you are, was to maintain the necessary duties for pretreatment until we find a permanent solution for that.
Mr. Mayor,
Still okay with that?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
as we had a,
Okay, well, don't start talking about something else yet.
Madam, listen, we also had agreement with, we had a meeting with our pre-treatment too, to talk about that.
Correct.
Okay, we got a motion and a second, transfer range.
Yes, full council, please.
Bass.
Yes.
Holt. Ready.
We separated this, hold on a second, we're separating this from electric and pre-treatment. We don't really have answers on the pre-treatment side of it yet.
This
Well-
is just to move Randy into that position right now.
With the understanding that until there is a permanent solution, he's going to maintain the necessary duties
Okay.
that are required. I mean, you agreed to that up front from day one, right? I mean, obviously, we have to figure out what we're gonna do next, but you were gonna be able to make sure we're not falling behind.
Right, I'm not gonna let the pre-treatment program fall apart, I'm still
And
gonna keep it running.
I've been working around the schedule too,
Sure.
whenever I can get down.
So yes, it's important that, you know,
Yes, yes.
Tony.
Yeah.
Black.
Yes.
Copeland.
Yes.
okay, so that settles that. We did a little bit more of our homework. We understand that we can make this thing work on that end. So thank you, Randy, for your willingness, and also thank you for continuing to help out in pre-treatment, because obviously that's something that we have to maintain. Still on electric, Kevin, we'll get to pre-treatment in a moment. Are there anything else, any other recommendations from the electric department?
For the electric, not that I can recall, but you.
How about transformer bids and whatever?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. I'll make sure there's no more recommendations first. Okay, so if there's no further recommendations, we will move on to some transformer bids. And E&D, I'll let you explain what these bids are for, because I think you have some pad mounts, you have some pole mounts, is that correct?
No, just that much.
Just all pad mounts, all the same size. I see some 25 kVA and some 50 kVA.
It's 25, 50s, and 100.
Okay, so you're buying each.
Yes.
5 of each. 5, 25, 5, 50, 5 100. Gotcha. So we have Midwest transformer. We have Sunbelt Solomon transformer. It looks like on the KVAs, they are at a price of $7,235 each from Midwest and $5,745 each from Sunbelt Solomon.
But I need to make a recommendation though.
Okay?
Please go with Midwest. We are desperately low on pad mount right now, and they can get me 2 of each size to get going.
The cheaper bids 8 months out, and the more expensive bids,
Okay.
couple weeks.
Now, is that going to be true for all 3 types of transformers?
It'd be 2 25s, 2 50s, and 1 100.
So Midwest can get you 2 of each of those in a pretty quick turnaround.
I think he told me we'd phone 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay,
Yeah, he said he'd get you at least 2 of each size in a couple weeks.
well, let me go ahead and read the rest of these bids then, and then we'll make that clarification and we'll take it to a vote. So we have, again, Midwest for the 25 kVA was $72.35 each, while Sunbelt was $5,745 each. The 50 kVA quantity of 5 for a Midwest was $8,645 each, compared to $6,045 each from Solomon. And then the third type, the 100 kVA from Midwest, is $11,900 each, compared to $6,950 each from Sunbelt Solomon. So obviously Sunbelt Solomon is cheaper on all 3 types, but the caveat is Sunbelt Solomon are 8 months out at least for all transformers. Meanwhile, Midwest can get at least 2 of each in within a couple of weeks while we wait for the other 3. So with that caveat, it sounds like the recommendation to the board from the supervisor is to choose Midwest.
Yes, sir.
Is that for all of them or just for 2 each?
Just, no, all of them. In order to get that.
Right, because they would probably have to rebid if you just did 2 and then 3.
And that's the only 2, bids I could come
It
up
is.
with at the time. The other one that we usually deal with, Emerald, they don't have any backups, so they wouldn't quote me nothing.
That's certainly a significant difference in price. But I guess you're buying convenience and the opportunity.
We have no 100 kVA transformers right now. We're out.
Sounds like a problem. Is there a motion from this council?
That's an expensive, that's an expensive.
What happens if that 100 kVA goes out?
You have to find somewhere else.
Right.
See if they got it.
I mean, again, I don't like the price difference, but I also understand we're at the mercy of our need to get some of these things.
I order transformers early spring. Remember, I come to you guys for transformers. I'm not getting those until November, mid-November, and that's through Sunbelt Solomon.
Well,
These
those.
is just kind of extra and I need to get transformers just in case. I know one transformer is bad right now. It's over there at the airport or the fair.
Well, it's up to you, council. If there's a motion either way on it, I mean, again, I don't like spending more money than we have to, but I also understand the situation we're in with the availability of these transformers, so it's up for discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going with Andy's recommendation. Whatever he thinks we need, I'm going with that. I ain't gonna have a lecture out to these people. He's the supervisor, he knows what we need.
Okay, so a motion by Copeland to accept Midwest transformer bids. Is there a second?
Do we have one?
Yes, it's budgeted.
All a second.
All that money?
Seconded by Black, so now we can discuss.
And yes, it is also.
This is a budgeted item, yes.
So they only guarantee 2 each of the 25 and 50s within a couple of weeks.
225s, 250s, and one 100 kVA.
And one of the 100K.
Yeah, 'cause I only ordered 2 100 kVA. We don't use them very often.
What are they gonna give us on delivery on the other, on the rest of it?
About 8 months out. That's usually what.
Probably what, 8 months?
That's about what Sunbelt
So it's
or Solomon is.
26, 28 weeks.
On the shipment you're getting in November, does that include any of these 25, 50, or 100 kVAs?
Not 100.
No 100s. And I'm sure they're probably all spoken for people now on jobs and where they're gonna be going.
No,
They're gonna be going in stock.
yeah. Like I said, there's one transformer I know of that's bad at the fair. It's got the boot full of oil, and that's a clear sign that the transformer's bad.
That's a 50 kV.
25. But then, there could be one over there at Eden Prairie. We did a locate earlier today, and that boot was starting to swell. And I was gonna take an outage there someday and take a look at the transformer, see what we're dealing with. I know too, the one at the Eden Prairie is 25 also. Those 2 right there.
This is guaranteed that you get these in a couple of weeks.
Told me over the phone. I was on the phone with Laney. I didn't want to talk here. He said, he told me 2 weeks.
$7 difference or so. Just go with that.
We've got saying that's because down here it says shipment 20.
Oh, yeah.
That's normal. I asked him if he could expedite it. I told him if there's any way you can expedite it, then,
What do we do?
So, Solomon, they want it.
Choose the one.
Correct. Well, we're guaranteed all of them, but we're guaranteed to get 2, 2, and 1 within a couple of weeks. That way we actually.
That's just to cover your costs. That's about $40,000.
It is. I don't like it, but I also understand we're gonna be really.
I've ordered transformers way back in
Don't
spring and still we got them. I mean, it's transformers are hard to get right now.
Well, there's a motion and a second, so I don't know what else to do, but take it to a vote, and then we can rediscuss if it doesn't move, so go ahead and pull the council.
Copeland,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Tony, Brad,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
So they're approved. Again, hate spending more than we have to, but welcome to the world that we live in right now. I know natural gas guys are in the same boat with things they need, and you know, Jimmy's been hitting stuff, and Dave, you're here, you know that, you live it every day, and sometimes we just gotta get really proactive and not reactive, and that might mean spending a little bit more money, unfortunately.
I'm gonna do all three of those in one motion.
Okay, so that motion moves us to get those from Midwest. That takes us to some wire bids. Pull those out right quick. Looks like we have 2 bids for some wire, is that correct, Andy? Shane, yeah, we got a bid from King Electrical and one from Annexer.
So there's one, the 7th page, he said he had a text.
Yeah, let me
He didn't
clarify
have an
that.
actual.
Yeah, let me clarify that, because he texted me at the bid, and he told me 5,500, that it's not 5,500 for 2,500 foot reel, it's 5,500 per 1,000 feet. So it's actually like 13,000.
Okay, so there's $5,563, and was that 15 cents, I'm guessing?
That's most
And that's per 5,000.
Per 1,000 feet, and it's a 2,500 foot reel.
Gotcha. So what was that number? Did you do the math yet, Sam? For the 2,500 foot?
No, because that's not the cheapest one, I'm gonna vote, or I'm gonna make a motion.
Right, okay. Listen, we can just read it out that way without
And let me
having to
clarify,
So,
Annexer can get me the wire basically tomorrow.
so these wire bids are for 2,500 feet of underground primary 15 kV wire, correct? All matching bids. First one from Cape Electrical is $8,500. Second one from Harry Cooper was $5,563.16 per 1,000. So multiply that out for 2,500 feet. That's a lot more than the 8,500.
It's 13,000.
Without getting too technical. And then finally, your third one from Annexer for the 2,500 foot 15 kV wire is $6,325, which that would come in as the cheapest bid. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept Annexer's bid.
Motion by Black to accept Annexer. Second by Fox. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right, that takes care of the wire.
And this did not include the transformer we need for the project.
No, it's not.
Okay. Anything else in regard to electric?
Right.
Thank you, sir. So that will take us to the pre-treatment committee recommendations. So as you all just learned 5 minutes ago, our pre-treatment operator is going to work for the electrical department. He's also willing to keep up with those duties as needed until there's any other decision made that says differently. There was a pre-treatment committee meeting last night. Is everybody here to speak for that committee? Is that you, Kev?
President, at the top, we going to make a motion to post range out in house, and I guess into the paper, to see if we get anybody. We need to fill that position, full-time position, we feel. Yeah, we talked about part-time, we talked about full-time, but after we talked to some people, we like to have full-time.
Okay. What I will add to that is I did talk to our comptroller today. That salary is in the budget because we did have it budgeted for Randy to move once all was said and done, and then his existing salary, of course, is already in the budget that was balanced. So I did get that from Tanya, that it is in the budget to do so. However, she's quite hesitant just because we all know the shape of our budget and we need to tighten things up, but it is in there just for the record. Talking with Randy, and Randy, I'll have you speak to it. Just from an EPA standpoint, Randy is under the impression that EPA has a mandate that we do have to have a full-time pre-treatment operator. Is that correct? Correct. So again, for whatever that's worth to you guys, I mean, I don't want to upset them in any way when it comes to EPA. My original thought to to be honest with you, was see if there's a way to combine, and don't shake your head, I'm not talking about you, I'm not talking about you, Dave, but if there was a way in the future to combine treatment, pre-treatment, if that was possible, if that was feasible, can it be done, can it not be done? Because I really don't know. Considering Randy saying EPA requires a full-time person, I think that answers that question for me. You know, but it's up to you, council. That's the questions I asked was, can we do it? Can we combine it? If not, is it in the budget? Those were the answers I received. It's up to you guys to figure out what you want to do from there.
Well, we discussed putting on one, make that one job, pre-treatment and the treatment plant. As we got talking more and more, we talked to Randy, we talked to Dave, they can explain more to you, and I'd just like to say that right now, our recommendation is a full-time treatment plant,
Full-time pre-treatment
operator.
Okay, so are you making a motion there, Kevin?
That's my motion.
Kevin's making a motion to post internally and externally for a full-time pre-treatment operator. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Boss. Discussion. Is there any questions to be asked? Is Randy here? Any other discussion to be had? Questions, comments, concerns?
I would say that while we're posting this, maybe we should look into it and get a confirmation that we have to have those separate.
Good idea.
That would be my.
I can sort of speak to that. Whether or EPA will give a strong recommendation, you can read that however you want to, but the Department of Natural Resources will certainly require that you have it as a separate job. So I think you're doing exactly the right thing.
Okay. That's Lance's opinion, so thank you for that.
So we post and go from there.
Well, and again, that's any other questions, comments, concerns? I mean, it is what it is. So we have a motion and a second to go ahead and post that position, both internally and externally. If so moves, we'll get all the salary tier information and Lincoln will have all that available. Roll call, please. What you guys want to do?
Russ,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Oakley.
Yes.
Okay, so moves to go ahead and post that position internally and externally. We should run that, what is today? Today is the 16th, so probably wouldn't hit the paper to the next week. So, you know, we always try to break down how long we want to run this to where we have another meeting. So we'll have a meeting on Tuesday, September 20th. So if we run it to September 19th at 4 o'clock, it's usually convenient for City Hall. We can have that meeting set. Have maybe that Monday evening at 5:30. You start looking at your application. Does that work for you?
What do you say?
So we'll run it till September 19th at 4 p.m. internally and externally, and then go from there. Okay.
And what's the date we're gonna post it? Tomorrow?
Yeah. Just may not hit in the newspaper or something next week, but
And it needs Randy, so the quicker we can fill.
yeah, I know. Obviously, Randy's gonna have to kind of juggle both things. Well, and obviously too, Randy and Andy, even if we get somebody hired, you know, they're gonna have to learn, right? So there's gonna be some on-the-job training going on where we're still gonna have to use Randy to. So that person's.
I'll work on this.
Yeah, I figured you would.
And I would work with Andy on that, of course, but once someone is selected, I'm going to suggest to Andy that he turns me loose for 2 weeks so I can spend 2 full weeks with
You guys work it out however you wanna work it out.
Unless he has an emergency thing,
Sure.
then absolutely has to have me. And then after that 2 weeks, I'm still here. That new guy can call me, text me, I can still come over at any time and let me know, you know.
Sure.
And Lance has always been great to help me out. I'm sure he would be a person, you know.
Okay, well, that's what we'll do. I'm sure we'll get through it. Anything else, Kevin? For our pre-treatment? Okay, line item number 8 was James Barnett Way street asphalt overlay bid. Denny did get 2 bids. They weren't sealed. there's only West and Pierce that offers that type of job around here. It was in the neighborhood of like $129,000. It is not a budgeted item, so we're not looking to vote on this or do anything with it. I just wanted to get a cost. So that way, we can research if there are any other ways we can fund this street. If not, wait till next year or whatever it might be. I just wanted to get a cost on what it would take to get that street done. So there's really nothing to say about that right now.
129.
It was like $130,000 to get that street done. Again, not budgeted.
No curbing, just the.
Correct. Yep, that's correct. So it's not in the budget, not something that we can sit here and do right now, but if we can figure out a way to fund it, then that's one thing. And then also, they're probably not going to be doing those types of jobs much longer as we're moving into the fall, and asphalt stuff's going to be pretty booked up and hard to get. From there, we can move on to the park and recreation recommendations. I know Parks and Rec had a meeting last night. Dave, I know you were there, I'm sure you were not.
Well, we got back to the transformer bids. Andy, should we go ahead and try to get that 25 kV order? Because it's going to be 36 weeks out.
You're solid. Yes, the 25 and
250s and a 25.
Or 250 kVA, sorry.
There's basically 3 sections out there to be worked on. 2 of them are going to take 50 kVA transformers. This is a good project. I was going to take a 25 kVA transformer. And the prices that are in the Sunbelt Solomon over here comes out to about $17,830 for 250s and a 25. I believe we have the money in the budget already. Right?
Yes, they do have that. They do have the monies budgeted for those transformers.
I'd like to make a motion to get those ordered so we can get this project started before next year.
On the 8th month?
Yes, on a cheap rate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. So a motion by Honey, second by Bouse. That would be to go ahead and use these Solomon bids and order 2 50 kVA and 1 25 kVA to be paid for out of the park monies. That is part of the park tax. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, so we'll get those ordered. I know it's going to take some time. And Jen, thank you for your assistance on that. I know you met with Andy out there and Carissa. You guys had to walk around. And again, we're all trying to make this better for next year. So, we're doing our part. There's 20,000 right there, but we're spending. So
the first part's already done.
Right.
When Bowen was here, doing that new line coming into the park, that helps out a lot.
Sure.
So that part's already done.
I'm confident
Now-
that it's going to
now-
get much
now
better.
it's
We just got to start the process.
Yeah, now it's only.
Yes, ma'am.
And Cody, I just think that I've been involved in this electric park mostly because of my job, but I feel like we have to better educate everybody, which I've spoken with the Fair Board briefly by text, and my plan is to educate our parents of our 4-H kids, and I do have an answer about the policy. We do have a liability policy, and the city does get a certificate from our agent, and they should have that before we have our fair. So you guys should have a copy of that, which would state what is covered or whatever. That came from our insurance person.
Okay, very good.
So I do know that part's taken care of, but I'm even working with Andy that maybe we can, through the co-op with our vendors, get those transformers cheaper.
Okay.
We have already been in contact with our supervisor this morning. I was at work. He's going to talk to Andy tomorrow, and hopefully we can, and maybe because we're a co-op and you're a municipality, so maybe different there, but if we can cut that cost, I'm willing to do that and help where we can. So.
Sure. No, thank you.
But just so the council knows too, I know you got calls and I called you, and our community does not understand the tier of how Hood Park works.
Sure.
You've got what goes on there during the year, you got football, you got this, you got that, those of you that know that the food shack was broken into after the fair, and I went up there last night by Chris's request, and the windows can still be open. So, we all have to work together to make this work.
Absolutely. I think we're finally starting to get to a point where we can all work cohesively together. Not that anybody was not willing to in the past, just never took the necessary steps to really get there.
And taking responsibility. I think everybody just wants to throw darts during the fair, and we get a lot of them on every level of it,
Sure.
and we want to stop that, so I think our communication has to stay close, and change is good. When we get new people on board, we have to keep them informed as well.
Yeah, we had some issues, but we got through them. And we'll
Yes.
learn from them, and we're already making steps to make it better for next
I
year.
have a question on that.
Yes.
Who oversees all the plugins for the campers out there and not let them piggyback off the
That's, I'm gonna address that.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna change.
So I think there might be some processes that we try to implement, just
Right.
to make it more streamlined.
Second thing I wanted to bring up and make a recommendation, we raised the parking fees out there from $10 to $25 a night. Okay, $10 a night is absolutely ridiculous. And 25 is still below what it costs to stay in an electric only spot anywhere out in town. So I want to make a motion, we raise our parking rates out there to $25 an hour per trade.
Motion by Honey, second by Grady, to upgrade the parking fee from 10 to 9 to $25. Yes, go.
We're talking about during the fair, $10 parking.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm trying to figure this one out, Lance, help me out here. If we don't have no stays for 7 days, 10 days in the park, that is the fair board. I guess the fair board made that recommendation to the park board.
No, we had, the park board made that recommendation, fair board was represented at the meeting last
Okay,
night.
the fair board there wanted to do that. Okay, that's okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposition? Okay, and real quick on that, I know, like Jen, some people probably can't, 5 nights, some people might camp 7. So, and that might be what you're going to next,
It'll
so,
probably only be 4 nights charged.
Okay.
They move in out there ahead of time, they don't live there ahead of time.
gotcha,
So we're not gonna plug anybody in until
understood.
the animals start showing up and kids start staying.
Okay, so that'll be easy to determine then.
Third thing is, we need to come up with a trailer pass system, and I believe Carissa is working on that already. We're gonna bring it in for approval when it's done, but I wanna make sure that we're not doing it for naught. And your office is involved in it, so I know you're gonna.
We're gonna help you, we're gonna send the form out ahead of time so that they bring the form to you to pay, and all you have to do is collect the money and give them the pass. So we're gonna take your load off.
Basically, we're gonna come up with a pass that's gonna get issued at City Hall when they pay their $100 for the 4 nights of camping. And they're gonna put that on their trailer, and when they pull it over there to park, if they don't have a pass, we're gonna turn them around and send them out. Okay, it's gonna be in advance, if they don't pay in advance, they're not staying.
Right, and that will be for those who are on the grid as well, and for those who are on generators, correct?
Right.
So,
Like, remember, you are charging that for those that are using generators.
No, but they're gonna have a pass, so they're not taking their trailer. over.
Right, but are they gonna pay for parking? Because they're not getting electric. See, that was the big thing this
well,
year.
so that's kind of why we only issue enough stickers to the amount of campers we can support on our grid next year.
That's
Anybody else has to be on a generator.
correct.
Or not on it at all.
Well, right, they're not gonna take one if they don't have a generator to hook up, so.
So, okay, so we'll create a,
Maybe color-coded passes, one generator, one
Right.
on the electrical grid,
Yeah.
whatever it takes.
And maybe we should make it a $10 a day for those that are camping, generator or not. And I did do the research you asked me to do last night, that RV park in Sullivan, everything is done online. So when we did all of our payment for everything, registration, everything online, so Laney, we work together and make that happen through a Google Doc or a Google form, we can do that. And then maybe those people, just to be able to camp or park, you still pay. But the pricing was anywhere from $53 to, well, anywhere from $35 to $55 a night. So we're in a good ballpark. We didn't want to
We weren't
blast
talking,
everybody.
we weren't talking about that for the fair period, though. We were talking about that for an income stream for
Sure.
the park.
Yeah, so
throughout
that's
the
something
year.
that can go on later on.
But anyhow, I'm gonna make a motion that we come up with a trailer pass system, and that we collect in advance, and that if you don't have a pass, you don't take the trailer in.
yeah, I mean, I think, so, and Lance, I'll ask you on that. Should we just continue developing a plan, and when we're ready to implement it, make a motion to implement it, or should we need to make a motion to develop a plan?
You don't have to do anything to come up with a plan.
So,
I mean, if
what it sounds like is the Fair Board and Park Board is working, and the city will be involved on developing this plan. And I think whenever it's ready, we'll bring it to the board, we'll vote it in. Fourth Street.
And, the fourth item is porta johns for the football field, soccer fields out there. We don't have any handicap restrooms out there, and we're gonna try to find some handicap porta johns. Get 2 porta johns for 2 months, it's about $400 a month total. Or $400 for 2 months, $200 a month total. And, I'm gonna make a recommendation that we get those as quickly as possible.
Okay, motion.
And the reason we came up with this, not only because we don't have any handicap bathrooms out there, but because with the 2-hour minimum, when they close the park down at night, when they're done practicing, someone would have to come in and lock the restrooms. That'd be 2 hours of pay every time they have a practice out there. So it'd be a whole lot cheaper to put porta johns out there than it would be to have a city employee go out there in 2 hours to lock the door.
Yeah, I mean, Noel Vickers contacted me as well. You know, there's not, he has a key, right? I think some of our city guys have a key, maybe the officers do too, but there's not, especially game weekends are one thing, but these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night practices at various times, there's not always somebody there. So get 2 porta potties, especially that are handicap accessible, you're looking at about a $400 cost for 2 months' time. Not life-changing money, it's definitely in their budget. So that's where this recommendation is coming from. So is there a motion to approve that expense for the porta potties?
I'll second that.
Motion by Tony, second by Grady. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good.
And I've got new business later on, so.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Jim. Police chief. What? We're conducting business over here.
Alright, keep this walk short. Nuisance, I think last time I spoke to you about nuisance. It's ever changing, stuff like that, but he does have a few things that he's working on. From 905 school, certified letter did come back, so he's gonna be issuing citations to that address and owners. 908 East Washington, they contacted the owner and they're having that lot mowed. Fishwick and East Grand are still waiting for certified letters to be returned. He's getting several tall grass complaints all over, but he does take care of it as well. And I'm still trying to make contact with the property owner for 205 Shaw Street. I think we all know where that's at. So, trying to locate them. We're doing what we can to help them. The other thing I have is an invoice here. We did have our police camp that we have every year for the kids and stuff. We were able to take 38 kids to the grade circles, adventure range down there. It is a budgeted item that I have had started doing the last 4 years or so. We are under budget at $6,783. Just get permission to get that put on a PO and get that taken care of.
Okay, allow Doug to pay that bill. Motion by Bouse.
Second.
Second by Copeland. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the last thing I have, I've already spoke to Lane about it. I did get the estimate back for repairs on the damaged vehicle, and it is going to be able to be a repairable vehicle, and we'll be able to come in under budget. The estimated value of repairing it was $9,400 after the deductible. Yeah, $9,452.06. But we'll be able to come in under budget, but Ron doing most of all the work for us. That's all I've got.
So after deductible, the cost is gonna be around $9,400 to repair that car?
Oh, so we're gonna come in under that. That's what they're issuing payment for that, for the damage.
Oh,
So Ron's gonna do a lot of the work and spare parts that we have.
okay.
This is the second one of these that I've got from the same place.
Is there a motion to be had there on that? For us to accept are we accepting an insurance payout on that car?
No, it's just information.
Oh, just information, I understood.
I'm just letting you guys know that we're not gonna replace the car by anyone, basically.
Okay.
That is fixable. Alright, I'll take a look at this and look into it. I haven't seen it. So,
I got one at the last meeting and this one was in there again.
Yeah, same here.
I haven't seen it.
That makes
But,
sense.
they did put in my box, or
And,
Yeah.
I'll make sure it gets to Cameron.
good.
That's all.
Anything else for Doug? Thank you, sir.
Alright, thank you.
Alright, of these bills to go through. Awesome, thank you.
Can I add one other thing?
Sure.
I talked a little bit about the pool last night. We had $140,000, I believe, was budgeted for resurfacing the pool. That bid actually came in at 116. So we kind of like to add 9,000 to that and put in 3 swim lanes, which basically you have to do during the resurfacing because it's tile being laid into the stucco on the bottom.
Yes.
That would be, even with the 3 swim lanes, 125,000. So that's 15 grand less than we had anticipated.
So I know Denny is working on these, or excuse me, Lenny is working to finalize some of these bids. I spoke to him this morning. He's still got a few things he needs to do before he's ready to present those to us to vote on. But good information, and it's coming down the pipeline, right? And it's going to be a lot less than we budgeted for. We got to get that pool totally resurfaced. We're even going to be able to put in the nice black swim lanes in there and still be under budget. So look for that to be coming probably at the next meeting. Again, they were finalizing some things before they were able to present that to us. And also we're working on some behind the scenes brain work too. But at least we know we have the money budgeted. At least we know it's going to be under budget. So yes, definitely look for that to probably be at the next meeting for approval. Thank you, sir. All right, motion for the first reading, bill number 2062. Motion by second, second by Bolt. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That was fast.
I know, like I was saying. Okay.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance establishing Chapter 5, Article 4, Section 5-60 of the Cuba, Missouri City Code, establishing a prohibition on the feeding of feral cats by private citizens.
Heard first reading, bill number 2062. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Grady, second by Bolt. Poll the council, please.
Mouse.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Honey.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Going.
Yes. Okay, first reading moves. Motion for the second reading of bill number 2062. Motion by Grady. Second by Bolt. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance establishing Chapter 5, Article 4, Section 5-60 of the Cuba, Missouri City Code, establishing a prohibition on the feeding of feral cats by private citizens.
Heard the second reading. Motion to accept. Motion by Grady. Second by Holt. Poll the council, please.
Going.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Honey. Ready.
Yes.
Holt. Mouse.
Yes.
Okay, second reading moves with a vote 6-0. That is now General Ordinance 1210. General Ordinance 1210. Yes, you can. I just let Warren, because I have to write it on top of it.
Yes, sir.
I just learned the things I have to make sure you get them back.
Yeah, I'm signing, so we'll get it back to that.
Motion for the first reading, bill number 2063.
Motion.
Motion by Black. Second by Honey. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance amending Section 22 vacations in the City of Cuba Employee Handbook to amend the timing on eligibility of vacation for new hires.
Okay, heard the first reading of bill number 2063. Motion to accept.
Can we have discussion on this?
Let's do the first reading and then discuss. I got something I want to say too. So heard the first reading of bill number 2063. Is there a motion to accept? Motion by Baus.
Second.
Second by Black. Poll the council, please.
Mouse.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Honey.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Going.
Yes.
Hey, before we go into second reading, I was reached out by an employee, and there was just to clear it up, I called Lance today on this. I think the original conversation mentioned any new hires immediately came in with a week's pay. So I know we hired some individuals that night. I think Amy Simpson might have been one, and we determined that those hires and any future hire would get that come in with the automatic week vacation. And I believe that was the motion that you were alluding to make.
Anybody who has not been here a year yet.
And then from that came the understanding or the motion of that also factored in for those who were within their first year, right? So if somebody was here for 6 months, they obviously haven't accrued any vacation yet, but then we hire a person and they get a week. So I talked to Lance about that today. Lance said because it's a change to the handbook, that's basically how he had to do it, and I'll let you elaborate.
So I can't make a handbook that is only for new hires or old hires. It's gotta be for all hires. So for that purpose, putting it in the handbook would require that you do it for anybody that's in that first year.
So that's why the ordinance is written the way it is. Do you have anything to add to that, Kevin?
All I was gonna say is, you guys about covered it, I was wondering about, once they had our anniversary date, I believe they should get it as well.
And that's the way it is.
That's how I read it, so I have nothing to say.
Okay. Alright, moving on to is there a motion for the second reading of bill number 2063? Motion by Faust, second by Honey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance amending section 22 vacations in the city of Cuba employee handbook to amend the timing on eligibility of vacation for new hires.
Okay, for the second reading, motion to accept. Motion by Holt, second by Grady. Poll the council, please.
Copeland.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Honey. Granny. Holt. Bass.
Okay, second reading moves. That is now General Ordinance 1211. General Ordinance 1211. Motion for the first reading, bill number 2064.
Motion.
Motion by Black.
Second.
Second by Holt. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance amending section 12 overtime in the handbook for the city of Cuba, Missouri employee handbook relating to overtime for the police department for the city of Cuba, Missouri.
Okay, for the first reading, bill number 2064, motion to accept. Motion by Faust. Second by Grady. Poll the council, please.
Mouse.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Granny.
Yes.
Honey.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Copeland.
Yes.
Okay, first reading moves with vote 6-0. Motion for the second reading. Motion by Grady. Second by Black. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance amending section 12 of overtime in the handbook for the city of Cuba, Missouri employee handbook relating to overtime for the police department for the city of Cuba, Missouri.
For the second reading, motion to accept. Motion by Grady.
Second.
Second by Black. Poll the council, please.
Copeland.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Honey.
Yes.
Granny.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Okay, bill number 2064 is now General Ordinance 1212. And finally, motion for the first reading of bill number 2065. Motion by Faust. Second by Grady. All in favor say aye. Opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri on behalf of said city to enter into an agreement with University of Central Missouri and Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission to accept a grant for DWI enforcement for abuse and lose program in 2022.
Heard first reading, is there a motion to accept? Motion by Faust. Second by Holt. Poll the council, please.
Mouse.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Granny.
Yes.
Honey.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Copeland.
Yes.
Okay, first reading moves. Vote 6-0. Is there a motion for the second reading of bill number 2065?
Motion.
Motion by Faust. Second by Grady. Full council, please, or all in favor say aye. Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri on behalf of said city to enter into an agreement with University of Central Missouri and Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission to accept a grant for DWI enforcement for abuse and lose program in 2022.
First, second reading of bill, bill number 2065. Is there a motion to accept? Motion by Faust.
Second.
Second by Grady. Poll the council, please.
Copeland.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Honey. Granny.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Bass.
Okay, second reading moves with a vote 6-0. That is now special ordinance 860. Thank you. Alright, moving on to old and finished new business. The only thing I was going to mention was I think we have, since we just posted some more jobs this evening, I think we have 2 job postings that are out there in limbo. Grounds laborer and also a street laborer. And were those set to expire next week?
I thought we had a meeting on the 23rd.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
August 22nd is when the ads were ran through, but like I said, I also announced last meeting that I'm not here next week, I'm on vacation.
Well, I mean, if the need to hire is there, we can get by. And I guess that's a question for you, Jerry. I know Jacob's already approved to jump over to electric. Do you know if there's any applicants for the ground labor? There is one. I don't know if you know of any
I
others.
think one other, he put electric, but I believe Leslie said he would do anything, so a possibility of 2.
Okay, so it expires Monday the 22nd at 4. We won't be having another council meeting until Tuesday, September 6th. So there very well could be a need to maybe have a special meeting. What we'll do is once that deadline closes, and I'll let Denny know the same for street, and tell you committees now, grounds and street, plan on hosting a committee meeting to review those applications either that evening or the next evening or whatever you want to do. And then if you think you have viable candidates and the need is there, we can post a special meeting before September 6th if needed to get those people in here and get them to work. So we'll determine that once yes, you had one too, didn't you?
We spoke at last meeting, we were saying that there was only one for the project, we were replacing one of my officers, and we hired them also.
Okay,
So we also have that one.
I think we're doing all one.
that's fine. Well, we can have it. I mean, Laney won't be here, but we can see if somebody can be here. I'll take minutes. It's no, it is what it is. Enjoy your vacation. Don't worry about it.
What time is it? You sure? Sweet.
Tuesday, 23rd.
So, I guess we can note to get a special meeting posted for Tuesday, August 23rd at 6 p.m. at City Hall. And the topic of that will be recommendations for new hires for police, for grounds, and for street laborers. With that being said, Doug, obviously you know whom your applicants are, what you have coming in, but the grounds guys and the street guys that are here, you're going to need to get a committee meeting set between August 22nd at 4 o'clock and Tuesday the 23rd at 6 o'clock. So you can review your applications and have recommendations for that meeting. Fair enough? Very good. That's all I have. Kevin.
I do. I'm gonna go out with a couple bids. I have an idea. Maybe too expensive for the city. It may not be. We may be interested. I'll probably get no votes on this whenever the bids don't cost nothing, so I feel I can go out for bids. But I just want to let the council know there's a couple of things bids I want to go out for. I'm putting something together, and I want to see the price of where I'm going before I want to present it to the board. It's too ridiculous, or is it worth bringing to the board? All I'm doing is going out for a couple bids.
Okay.
I just want to let the board know, here I'm going out for a couple bids. It don't cost us nothing to go out for a couple bids, and then when I get my plan together.
Does he need to specify what he's doing here, or just say, go crazy, Kevin, let us know what you find? He just sounds like he's just doing some preliminary research on his own.
It really is.
Okay. So nothing to speak of at this point? Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna put a little plan together for something, right? But right now, I just like to get together, see what it's gonna cost. I just want to let the board know ahead of time.
I kind of wish you would have said something, because now I'm not going to sleep tonight thinking about what it might be.
Santa Claus.
We don't put a lot of plans together,
I know.
put together, but I'm gonna keep it quiet until I get my ducks in a row.
Okay.
Tanya said we can't afford a police station.
That's all I have, where I started, sorry about that, Cody.
Oh, good. Sam?
Good.
Dave?
Yeah, without identifying which cameras aren't working, because every time we do that, that place gets broken into. What's up with the cameras? Are we gonna get them fixed or not?
Well, we got one.
We got one.
We got one.
One that's out or one that's working?
The one that's out.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure what's wrong with it.
But that's progress, right, from where we were?
Oh yes. We got everything. They're all working for something.
Very good.
Cool. Hopefully that's the one at your office and we don't have to work.
Okay.
It's the one just out in the middle of that cornfield out there that nobody cares about.
Thank you.
All the other ones are well secured. Warren?
I do have something.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Wow.
You're not an attorney?
After 7 years. I want to know from Missy and from the chief, how you plan on policing the ordinance for your teasing feral cats. I'm all ears.
Yeah, I guess what we first have to do is talk to the prosecutor and get a fine imposed with it. Wouldn't that be the right way to go on the claims?
Have a discussion, figure out.
Have a discussion to figure out, what the fine would be, and then we just write the ticket for, we know certain locations are feeding cats and causing a nuisance to neighbors or allowing them to reproduce. It's not gonna be easy at first, I think it'll be a process, but I think we have to get a fine imposed to it, we have to do something, so we're just gonna take it a little bit at a time and see how it works. Do you have any other suggestions on that, Doug, or Ben?
I would suggest that you talk to the prosecutor and find out what kind of evidence he's gonna wanna have before
Right.
he'll take the trial. He'll give you a pretty good idea of what it is that he's looking for.
You're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna have to do with these cats that you're not allowing people to feed now. Cause they're gonna be wanting you to pick them up.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out. We
Yeah,
gotta
let's
do something.
At least we have an ordinance that might give us some teeth to, hold people accountable. That's kind of what we're trying to
Right.
get.
I mean, if they're ferals and we have to track them, in the ordinance, it does state that they could be that they would be responsible, that they could be responsible for the cost of euthanasia. That does say it in the ordinance, so we're gonna just have to look at it and just do it step by step.
Not just stray cats, feral cats, cats you can't tame. Wild animals.
If somebody is feeding the animals and they get caught, the ordinance does have it in there that cat can be assigned and that they could be required to cover the cost of euthanasia.
If a cat is adoptable and not claimed by the owner, then we adopt it. So,
All right, that's all I have.
Curtis?
Well, the only thing I promised, Maxine Myers, that I would talk to the council about property for the food pantry, but after talking to you today, I know you're working on it, so, that's all I had.
Yeah, and to touch on that, I mean, it's obviously an ongoing need for food pantry. They do have a location now. I think that the food pantry itself does have an interest in maybe find a different area, that might work out better for them and their neighbors. So, I think there are some private citizens that are also pursuing this. That's the word that I've received. So yeah, I think we just kind of give it some time, but I think there are some individuals out there that are trying to help raise some private money to find a solution for food pantry.
Okay, and I'm gonna add this, we've got that lot that Jerry mows over in the industrial park between, Golden Grass and, Marlboro. Can we donate that to them?
I think one of their concerns is they want it to be walkable for most of the citizens in town, so that they can, whoever needs the food pantry can walk here. I don't know how convenient it would be for most people to walk to the industrial park.
And I'm unsure about the functionality of the layout of that lot too. But yeah, I mean, my goodness, if they saw that and they're like, this is it, this is what's going to be the.
She asked about the property over by the Wallace, but that's pretty expensive.
Well, I mean, and again, I've been approached about that as well. That's a 5-acre piece.
Yeah.
We own it, we can divide it up however we want. It's just that it has to make sense for us. I mean, 5 acres is probably too much for a food pantry.
Yeah.
And if we block off an acre of it to a food pantry, does that inhibit what else we can do with the property? So I just think this conversation is to be had, and I'm hoping that in the near future we'll be having this conversation.
That's all I had.
Yes, sir.
So, update on Shenandoah, met with, Edith Ford, legal counsel for them, and, the engineer, a couple weeks ago, and, I would like your permission to address, some concerns that they had. What we're really looking to do is, there's 2 boxes over there. We thought they were connected. Apparently they're not. They need to be. And we would also like to move the point where water is moving from where it currently is in the plans to across the street in that front corner in Edith Ford's yard. I don't think that it would be substantial change, but it would probably address a lot of their concerns. So I would ask council to
seconded by Tony, again, just to allow Lance to interact with our engineering firm, make maybe some project changes that might be necessary, and see what costs are attributed to that, so we can continue working on a solution for that problem. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good.
I will ask Amber to put those together so that you can see what that will look like.
Anything?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn? Motion by Grady. Second by Tony, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.